today we're joined by Shaan Arora, right? So you're the co-founder of Alia, right?
It's pronounced Alia.
Alia, okay. So it's a Shopify-focused pop-up platform that helps brands grow their emails and SMS lists without annoying customers. So tell me a little bit more about what this company does. Like, how does it function? Because I don't really understand, like, on the basic, like, surface level, what the company really does. So could
All
you
right,
dive
sure.
in a little bit?
Yeah, I can. So, all right. So, if we think about it like this way, right? So, if you're online shopping, right, and you're on a brand store and you see this pop up, it says like enter your email to get 15% off, right? I'm sure you guys have seen that. Um,
Yeah.
so we make those better. Think about like, if you Lucas and Henry, if you guys were to see a pop up, what's their likelihood of converting? Right? Like probably somewhere between like 2 to 5% on average. However, with our pop-ups, the percentage that you're going to enter your email and SMS jumps up to closer to 10 to 15%. So, allowing these brands to grow their newsletter lists. And the best way to do so is through like email capture in a pop-up. Um, Now, every brand kind of has one, right? Like we're not revolutionizing the idea of a pop. We're not revolutionizing the idea of collecting emails. We're revolutionizing kind of the manner in which it's done.
Right.
And we've found cool ways, which I can expand upon if you guys are interested in how to bring more site visitors to enter their email than the amount of people who were entering it before. So that's all we do. It's pretty niche. It's just focused on e-commerce brands. And we've been
Uh-huh.
extremely focused on doing this one thing, which is pop-ups, and not doing anything else, but doing this one thing exceptionally well.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I come from a marketing background, SDSU, and we, in classes would talk about so many different things and so many different ways of marketing a business. But I
Yeah.
think that, when you have a sort of I guess it is kind of an agency model, you guys are handling clients and producing, pop-up content for them, in a way. It's important to kind of niche down and focus on a singular thing and get really good at that. So that's definitely fascinating.
So I was looking through kind of your resume. I saw you were a quantitative analyst intern, an AI engineering intern. So at what point did you get the idea for this, and like how did you go about making it a reality? And is your background in like machine learning and computer science?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, I think my background, yeah, is in computer science and business. Effectively, like, I was working at, the bank you mentioned, Credit Suisse. I was working there, then I worked at a hedge fund after. And
Uh-huh.
I really didn't like it. Like, I found the work interesting, and I found the work interesting. Like, it was mainly math and computer science, both of which I find fascinating. But
Uh-huh.
I just felt like trapped, right? And I felt like I woke up every day without any real excitement about doing what I'm going to do.
Uh-huh.
Because the fact of the matter back then was that it wasn't mine, right? It was someone else's. And like, that to me is extremely, extremely important, right? Like this thing being mine. Like I care a lot about knowing that the progress that I'm making every single day is progress towards the dreams, ambitions, and goals that I've set out for myself. And
Uh-huh.
work just is such a huge part of my life. And ever since I was younger, I've always cared a lot about studying and work. So I knew that it was going to be a big part of my life as I'm getting older. Right when I was like 20, I was like, I'm sure I'm going to care a lot about it. And if I'm going to care a lot about it, I might as well make it what I want. So, the reason I chose to become an entrepreneur is that pain was just so strong for me. Like the pain of having to work for someone else was just so immensely strong that I was like, I
Uh-huh.
can't do this. Like, I'll do whatever it takes in my life so that I'll never have to do this experience again. And that pain isn't the same for everyone. But for me, it
Yeah.
Mhm.
was
Sure.
just so excruciating. And
No. Yeah.
and now every day, even though I wake up with different pains that are, I have 21 employees. We do $6 million a
Wow.
year in revenue, right? We have 2,500 customers, like I have issues and I have pains with these things, but
Yeah.
I'd much rather deal with those pains every morning than deal with the pain of regret and the pain of you know, the pain of like having to know that I'm not living my dream out, you know?
I feel like that's a super relatable thing to talk about, because I've at any level, it could be any job, even at an investment banking firm or even at, maybe someone who's at an entry level job as well. You can still feel trapped like either way.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an important thing to recognize. And if you have that sort of burning desire to go out and build your own thing and have ownership over your own thing, it definitely takes a certain type of person to actually make that leap. But
Definitely.
I think if you're okay with being uncomfortable and starting to build something like on your own, then from every single person that we've talked to, it seems extremely beneficial to that person's, mental and just their will and their spirit to go out and like start doing their own thing.
Yeah, we on this show, this is Inside the Box episode 13.
Oh, all right,
And
nice. A
we
lot of
so
episodes.
you're our 13th person that we've
All
been on
right,
here.
like lucky
And
number 13.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like it. I
yeah.
like it. I like it. I'll take
And
that.
so a couple of people we just interviewed, they're also founders. They work in a totally different industry, but I think one thing that's common is like they just want whatever their work to be, whatever they're working on, they want it to be theirs. Like they're
Yeah,
very like strong about the ownership aspect of it. And like it's just cool to see like how do you go from like idea to actually implementing that. And like that's the difference between a lot of people is they just don't actually go out and implement what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I
Especially for a software company, I can imagine that's like kind of a big task. There's a lot of pieces you have to get in place to actually get it implemented and get it on the market. So, like when you were thinking about this, like what gave you the Shopify idea? Like how you're going from your your finance internship, like where did this idea come from? Why Shopify? And like how did you first start getting things rolling with this?
yeah, it's a good question, and I think I kind of just stumbled upon this, right? So the initial idea before we were doing pop-ups was like gamified education, and how it worked. The reason I got the idea was I went to Northeastern, as we spoke about
Mhm.
earlier, um, a computer science major, and I was in a fintech club because I'm just interested in different industries. So I was in a club for fintech. Um, I was like vice president, so I was like leading this initiative to build an app for our university where
Yes.
students from my school could learn about fintech and get rewarded in my school's currency, which was Husky dollars, right? So
Uh-huh.
imagine like,
Thanks.
yeah, so y'all like, if you went to my school, you would learn about whatever, some concept, and my school would pay you. Cool. Like that was the idea. Built it out for my university. While I was building it out, I was, I've always kind of been in the mindset of like, be aware of what you're doing and be aware of like what you're being asked to do because like maybe there's a bigger purpose or maybe there's something larger than what you're just seeing directly. I've kind of always had that mindset, I think. So while I was building this app, I was like, oh wow, like it was kind of random. Like one day it was like me and the other people who were on the team, and I was just like, yo, I think this could be like an actual like company. Like this idea of learning about something and getting rewarded, like I don't know how it's gonna form as a company, but I think one day it could be a company, and that was that.
Yeah.
So that's how I came across the idea. I was, with these folks building this thing, and I was just like, "Oh shit, like this is cool," but like at the end of the day, like building this as a for my club on campus at university, like it's like whatever. But like building that as a company is like cool. I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
when
let me
you
see what. Good.
when you were starting to build the app for the school, were you already thinking about getting emails and building databases with emails from the students and like how you would be able to market to them that way? Or was that,
No,
something
that came
later
like
down?
much later. Yeah, that came much
Okay.
later. But at that time, it was just like gamifying education, right? And
No.
then I was about to go to my internship at Credit Suisse, um, in New York City, which is, where I worked at the bank. And at that time, one of my roommates from college was also going to be working with me at the bank. We were actually going to sit next to each other. in the bank in New York City. Me and him were gonna be
Cool.
roommates again in New York for the internship, and I was like, "Yo, listen, like,
Yes.
I have this idea thing, like, do you wanna work on it with me?" Right? And
Mhm.
that's how I chose my co-founder, was, "Yo, I have this thing, like, you're my good friend. I think you're smart, and I trust you as a person, and, like, I think you have a good heart." Right? And, like, that was my entire calculus as to who I wanna choose as my co-founder. So it was me
Mhm.
and him. We started trying stuff out, you know? Like, we knew nothing. By proxy of just doing research, I stumbled across Shopify. I stumbled across Shopify apps and decided, hey, actually, let's be a Shopify app. And then a year later, we launched. 6 months after that, we pivoted into pop-ups. So it wasn't really, let's say it came up with the idea in like 2021, the end of 2021. Like, it wasn't until 2024 January that we really decided that pop-ups is where we want to fit. Right. So like, but I was one thing, and I say this all the time, is I'm extremely lucky to have great co-founders. Because,
Mhm.
everyone has ideas, right? Like, I'm sure you guys have great ideas. Everyone has an idea. The hard part is the
Yeah.
execution of it. Execution is
Right.
extremely difficult, and pretty much nobody can do it. That's why most startups fail. But when you have a co-founder like I had and like I do have now, who you respect and who also grinds and who keeps you accountable, like, you're not gonna stop working. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
that was the
You guys
secret for me.
So you guys kind of bounce off each other, like, if one person, you guys are both pushing each other to, like, be doing the work all the time.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it's like, yo, it's like, let's say I'm slacking off one day, but he's working. Like, how is that gonna make me feel? Like, damn, I'm being like,
Mhm.
I'm being not a good co-founder, and I'm also not living
Yeah.
up to like the person I should be. Vice versa. If he has a bad day at work, I have a bad day at work. I can help the other person, or if he needs emotional support, like, I can help him. You know what I'm saying? So like, stuff like that
So
is I think the biggest reason we found success was really finding the right person
that's
to work with.
that's super important, and I think in our last episode that we had with Ismail, who's one of, my friends from school, and he owns a real estate media company here in San Diego, he talked about how, choosing the right co-founder is extremely important to starting the business, and just being able to have, a certain amount of trust in them that you can work together with them well long term is something that's super valuable. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they were talking about, like, how they at the beginning, like, they really had to lean on each other and go through a lot of failures and just, like, believe in each other and just from, mistake after mistake, they then finally found their success. It sounded like you were kind of iterating through different ideas with Shopify. Was there anything that particularly drew you to Shopify? Did you see like there was like an easier entry into that market, or what kind of tipped you
mm.
off to there being an issue there to
Yeah.
solve?
We believed that it would fit well for online shopping. That was our thesis. Like, this would be good for online shopping. So we wanted to be a loyalty program. So I looked up loyalty programs for online businesses. Right. I searched on Google and came across this one app called Smile.io. And I was like, oh, how do they deliver themselves? I was like, oh, they're a Shopify app. What's a Shopify app? Right. And that was that. And
That's
that's like how we discovered we wanted to be a Shopify app, was by doing market research and being like, oh shit, okay, this company distributed through the App Store in Shopify. Like, firstly, what is Shopify? Because I didn't know about it. And what is a
Yeah.
Shopify app? And how do I get in? And then that was that, and like, that's how we came up with it, bro. I had no experience in e-commerce, no experience in SaaS, no experience as a founder. It was just like, I'm resilient enough and I just care more than everyone else. So like,
yeah.
let's just work. And then that's the only thing that mattered, was like, how much are you gonna care? And the answer was that me and my co-founder just care so much that like nothing could stop us.
No, that's that,
That's have you always lived in New York, or
Yeah, so I grew
where?
up in Boston with my parents. Like when my family grew up in Boston, and I
I
moved to
mean,
New York beginning of last year because a lot of the e-commerce brands that we sell to actually also are based in New York, as you can imagine.
Mm.
And I was like, fuck it, bro. Like, if I live in New York, I might serendipitously meet more e-commerce brands, right? And I was like,
yeah,
Oh, for sure.
and
maybe
be able to meet with clients in person as well.
yeah. So I was like, all right, if I'm gonna take this really seriously, I might as well move to where my clients are. And it's true. Like, just randomly, my roommate's girlfriend works for a big e-com brand, and now they're a client. You know what I mean? There's like little stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, you
Yep.
stack up those wins, right? You meet someone at a bar, they work for
Yep.
an e-com brand, like whatever. It's like stuff like that. And like, in New
Totally.
York, there's just so many Shopify e-commerce retail brands out here. Like you just kind of meet them.
I'm very excited to go to New York for the first time ever this December for myself. I've
Oh,
never been
sick.
to the East Coast, and it'll be my first time checking out for my company's Christmas party. I think they're
Oh,
gonna be having everyone that works remote travel out there and check out the office and everything. So
sick.
I'm
That's
super
gonna be sick.
excited about it.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
good time,
You
dude.
like New York? How do you like living there?
It's expensive, but it's good. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I think like I mean, it's expensive, but like you kind of you know what you're getting into, right? Like, you're paying
Yeah.
the price to be in the city and like whatever. Like, I think in from my perspective, like I'm okay not having a ton of money today, but
Mhm.
having really great experiences because I expect one day I'll have a lot more money, so it won't really matter as much.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, I've heard it's the greatest city in the world, so
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
sure it's all
it's good, dude.
fun
It's fun. I mean,
to be out there.
I was in San Diego month and a half. I think actually maybe about a month and a half ago. There's a conference there. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful place.
San Diego is wonderful. I mean, I am very happy to call this place home, and North County is a lot more chill and kind of like relaxed than a lot of the other places. But like you said,
Nice.
that's at the sacrifice of running into celebrities and people that are, really, really cool people on the street that you might see in New York. So, there's a
Yeah, it's
balance to everything.
yeah,
I wanted to go back one sec because there's this quote that was ringing around my head that's like the medium is the message. I forget the exact person that made that quote, but it seems like, you know, Shopify apps are the medium that you've chosen to, present your business through. And it seems like, the target demographic of people that are using Shopify apps for their businesses are probably pretty well versed in e-com because, I haven't really like jumped into that a little bit, that space a ton. I know about Shopify, I know about, all the e-commerce brands that kind of run on that are the biggest ones, but Shopify apps are definitely super interesting and something that I think is just like an interesting thing that I haven't heard about before. But
hmm
um, in addition to just like that sort of medium, is there any like sort of focus that you have to build another app for your business or anything that you guys are focused on building right now? Obviously, you don't have to give anything away, but I'm just trying to get an idea of where your head's at and like where you want the company to grow into like at this time.
Yeah, are you
yeah,
planning on exiting or, like, what is kind of the next steps for it's Alia, right?
yeah, oh, yeah. That yeah. But yeah, in terms of expansion into other apps or other industries, honestly, we don't plan on doing so. Like I think the best a lot of times the best entrepreneurs become the best because they're able to not focus on things. And I think the ability to be really diligent in deciphering what you care about and what you want to focus on and what you don't want to focus on is extremely important. So for us, we want to be getting better and better every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year at this one thing, which is pop ups. And we don't want to do anything else. We believe the TAM is big enough for us to grow into, at least double the company next year and double again the following year. And for us, that's great, right? Now, in terms of like where I see the company going in the future, we're in a great place because again we're now across 6 million
Super
ARR
impressive.
bootstrapped,
Wow.
so we haven't raised a single dollar. We're profitable. Yeah, we have a very lean team. We got here in about a month. I mean, a year and 6 months. We're growing 15% month on month. So we're a lucrative business for M&A. Sure, like people have hit us up. They're interested. So
Uh-huh.
we have that path available to us if you want to. We also have the path where we can just say fuck it, we'll keep building ourselves and we have the profitability,
Mhm.
we
Yes.
have not raised money, so we have no pressure, right? And like that's the great thing about bootstrapping a business, right? Like if
Definitely.
you have investors, they kind of pressure you a bit, but when it's just you and your co-founders and your team, like dude, whatever, we could wake up tomorrow and say fuck it, we're done building. Let's go sell the company. We can sell the company,
And,
right? Like no one,
being
yeah,
almost controlled in a way by the investors and advised very heavily by them versus having complete freedom, if everything's bootstrapped from the beginning.
How was that
yeah,
bootstrapping process? Like, was it difficult to not get any funding? Like, did you have to pay money out of your own pocket?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I put in a small investment in the beginning. I put up like $20,000 right after college. I was like, "Fuck it, let's just put the money in because we need it." Um, and you know, we made the choice to not take in money. Like essentially we were offered 150,000 at a pretty decent valuation. We decided to not raise it because we thought that like we don't need the money today, and like let's hold off on taking the money. And if we need the money down the line, if we truly believe we need the money, we'll take it. We didn't need it, right? And like it's kind of it's kind of a position of power if you don't need the money, right? Like when you do need the money, people don't want to give it to you as much. When you don't need it,
Mhm.
everyone wants the same thing with like anything in life, right? When you don't need something,
Yes.
everyone wants to give it to you. When you do need it, no one wants to give it to you. So like, that's kind of part of it. And bootstrapping is harder in the beginning, but it becomes clear it's the right choice if you can scale successfully without raising money, because then you have the ultimate freedom. Most businesses
Mhm.
especially in today's world, like where AI, like you can build anything with AI, right? Like literally anything, and like you don't need to raise really, unless you're building like like physical tech company, like some extremely ambitious goal. Like you probably don't actually need to raise money right away.
Like, what are the initial costs to start, like, a software company like yours? You mentioned in around 20K, but what
Yeah, and
do you need to what are those costs to get started with that?
there's none. There's really none. I mean, there's some cost for just having the software run in the cloud. So you need to pay for some cloud costs. Usually, you can get credits. The main cost would be like
Mhm.
if you're not technical, finding a technical person, and if that technical person needs cash, if they want salary, then you come up with salary. But if not, then you can give them equity, and then you don't need to pay any cash usually, especially if they're younger. Um, so yeah, it's like really really low cost to start a software company, especially if you're already technical.
At what point did you guys start bringing more people onto the team? Because it was
That is
just
what I wanted
you
to
and
talk
the
about.
co-founder. And then at what stage did you guys bring someone on, and did you pay them a salary right away, or did you give them equity? And kind of how did that shape up?
Yeah, so it was just me and my co-founder. Actually, this time last year, we had just brought in a third co-founder full time, so it
Wow.
was just three of us for,
Crazy amount of
and
growth.
it was
Crazy amount
just
of growth for 1 year.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, we've grown a ton, right? And then once our co-founder came full time, my third co-founder came full time. That's the first time we took salary. So I didn't take salary for 15 months in the business. I was just living off my savings. And I was like, fuck it, whatever. I'll just burn my savings because I think my expectation is that this will be successful and then it won't matter.
Mhm.
And it was true, right? But it's a risk I took, and was it the right risk? Like, retrospectively, sure, but
But if
who
but
knows?
if you think about that risk compared to being 35 with kids versus,
Yeah,
where
exactly.
you are now, it's a huge difference. So
Yeah,
kudos
that's
to you
yeah,
for
100%.
recognizing that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I think like this is a good quote. It's like youth is wasted on the young, right?
Yep.
It's only like sometimes when you're 35, you're like, damn, I should have done this shit when I was 20.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're 20, you're like, oh, I'll be young forever.
Yeah.
I'm 24, so I'm still super young, but
Yeah.
you know. Um, so yeah, like then there was three of us, and then we was like, all right, like we all are taking salary. We're actually making more revenue now. We'll just start hiring, and then once you start hiring, you kind of just keep hiring, I guess. I think we hired slowly, but over time, when you are more profitable, you have the ability to offload your work, right? Like, I pretty much don't take any sales calls anymore. I don't really focus on day-to-day stuff anymore. Like I'm more like working on the business instead of in the business, which is nice. And that requires hiring out I did everything. I did sales, partnership, marketing, all the ops, but like now I'm hiring for those roles,
Mhm.
which allows me to now focus as being CEO, and allows my co-founders to focus as being CTO and COO instead of being like so deeply in the business every second.
No, totally. One of the things that one of the founders we just talked to said was the most important thing for them was being able to outsource their work and, stop doing the stuff that they
Yeah.
Know that they're not the absolute best.
yeah, so they found the best people to do the stuff that they could do but not as good, and to give them more time to focus on like the higher level aspects of the business.
I
Yeah.
Um
I had a question just about hiring people in general and putting trust in them, because I feel like a lot of, whether it's founders or people that are hiring for corporate companies as well, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors sometimes when it comes to hiring people, and like stuff that is not as transparent as it could be. And I think it's important to put a lot of trust into your employees and give them a lot of autonomy. So is there anything that you would say is like kind of unique about your guys' hiring process, or something that you value a lot when you're bringing someone onto your team that, you think people would find interesting, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think like yeah, it's natural to not trust people initially, but then over time you're just like, I have to start trusting people, or else I'll never be able to scale this company.
Yeah.
um, you want to hire someone who really wants the job, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Like, we hired people who like are kind of interested, but not like whatever, not like in love with it. And they might be more talented and have more experience, but if you hire someone who's like really excited about the job and like is willing to do all the work, like that's more important every time, every single time. That's someone
Yeah.
who like knows this stuff really well. Especially at a young startup, like, they have to be okay with the hours, they have to be okay with the unpredictability, and we usually index upon that a lot.
No, it's
Do
cool.
you guys have a physical location, or are you guys outsourcing work to people like overseas? How are you guys doing that? Do
Yes.
you know all your
Yeah, yeah,
employees?
like, we're not like we don't really outsource in that manner, like, we have, like, a full team, and, like, they all, like, are, like, considered employees to us. So,
Hmm.
like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, like, everything like, we don't use, like, contractors who are not, like, paid on 40 hours a week basis. But
Okay.
there's 9 of us in New York City in an office, and then
Uh-huh.
everyone else is either in the US, in Canada, or in different countries across the world.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell me, like, what's a day to day for you, like a typical, just random day
If
in a
you're
week?
if you're working on the company rather than in the company, if I'm saying that right, like how is that different now than I guess what it used to look like for you, having to juggle everything at once?
Yeah, it's less calls, it's less, like, messages directly from clients and agency partners, and it's more, like, me thinking about what hires I wanna make, hiring those people, you know, like, maybe meeting an important client for dinner or, um, getting on a podcast that was gonna help, honestly, like, with the business. I make a lot of content too, so content's important. Thinking
Hmm.
about, like, what things can I be the only person that does this thing? Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
if this isn't something that necessarily needs my name on it, then it's not something I really should be doing. But, like, like, thinking about, like, some paperwork stuff I need to handle, like, HR, compliance, like, that type of stuff is still important for the CEO to be involved in. But, yeah, hiring and I care a lot about revenue, so, like, I'm very diligent about I the only time I really care about being inside the business is when it comes to revenue. So, like, thinking about, like, okay, like, are we growing the way we need to? What are we doing that's every day that's getting us towards our revenue goals? And like, if we're not hitting them, what's the issue?
Makes total sense. And I think that if you're a founder that has, kind of that bootstraps background and you've taken sales calls initially yourself, you understand how important it is to hit metrics and just like present the company as profitable to whether it's investors or just the public in general.
Yeah.
How do you like go about like testing that and like finding out if there's an issue with the revenue? How do you test and find out what that issue is?
Yeah. I mean, we set, I personally for the company set daily and weekly goals for revenue. Right. So
Okay.
like I can just see, are we hitting revenue goals for the day? Are we hitting revenue goals for the week? And like, if we're not,
Yeah.
then like there's obviously an issue. So like, it's pretty easy for me to be able to tell now.
Yeah.
Because we set the good goal, we set the goals, and I diligently check the goals progress. Because if you can hit the revenue goals each day, you'll hit the week goal, and then you'll hit the month goal, you'll hit the quarter goal, you hit the yearly goal. So like,
So
that's the
you're not your revenues one day is just not hitting that goal. Like,
yeah.
what is the first thing that you're gonna do to respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll look into it, be like, is it a churn issue? Is it a sales calls converting issue? Is it not enough sales calls being booked? Like, where's the where's like, is it a downgrade issue, upgrade issue, resubscribed, unsubscribed? There's different like metrics that you can track. So like, how did today look from all of those metrics?
We definitely want to get you some exposure. Like, do you want people to follow your Instagram? Like, what are your if anything? Yeah, we'll put it up on the video. Like, tell us about what you got going
Yeah,
on as far as like socials.
yeah. But I've been trying to make more content. So I mean, I've been making LinkedIn content for since January last year, as well as Twitter. So LinkedIn is just my full name, and then Twitter is at I am Shaan Arora. And then my Instagram, since last
Sweet.
week I've been starting making content there. So my Instagram is Shaan Arora 19.
Yeah, one of the founders we just talked to, they're like, they have their business, and
Mhm.
then he's trying to also create a lot of content on his Instagram, and now they just dropped like a course, like where they're gonna like show people how to do their business, how they did it.
Nice.
Is that something that's you've kind of thought about at all?
I mean, I think like I I think courses are cool,
Mhm.
but like I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Like it seems like a nice
Makes
little
total sense.
extra income stream, but I'm kind of focused on building the business today. And then, I think once I feel like I've found a lot of success, maybe then I'll start doing
Yeah,
more.
yeah, no, for
Um,
sure. Definitely it's something some people are more like um prone to want to do that type of thing than other people. So what kind of is the goal with like the content?
yeah, I honestly like I've just learned a lot in this journey, and like I want to just share what I've learned with people. I'm not like it's just like I'm literally just like giving away like not giving away. I'm just like giving mm, the stuff that helped me grow the business. Like
No,
just for
that's
free on my Instagram, just to be like, yo, this is what I did, and like this is like my story. I think like for me, right, like I know I want to keep being a founder for the next like 15, 20 years. So like, when I make content, I'm looking at content with like a 15, 20 year horizon, right? Like my my scope isn't my scope of this isn't just like a few weeks, it's like years, decades even. So like I'm making content forever. So, I try to make my content. I'll keep building startups, and I think like over time those two will
Yeah,
merge such that like my startups and my content are like helping each other.
totally. And you want the content that you make right now to still be relevant, relevant sorts of conversations and things like that, even further down the line. So I feel like we can relate to that too, because every time we talk to someone like you, we want these conversations to carry for years to come and still be relevant.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
With Alia, say Alia disappeared
For
from the
sure.
market right now, what would be missing from the Shopify market, from the pop-up market? Like, what is the problem that you guys are solving, and how are you guys able to do that?
Yeah, I think the issue is that nobody has tried to push the barrier on our specific thing, which is pop-ups. People have stopped at a certain point, or they've chosen to do product expansion to other things. Nobody has taken the time and the effort and the care to go extremely deep on this thing, right? Like everyone's kind of stopped here. What if we were to be gone tomorrow? What the Shopify market would be missing would be a company that's innovating on this one thing specifically, because nobody else is, and transparently, I don't think anyone else is really trying to, because they're seeing that we are. So
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Well, Sean, I think that this
that's
has
what's be
been a
missing.
tremendous conversation. We really appreciate your time, and we want to let you be able to get into your meetings and everything that you need to. But we would be happy to, have you again for a future talk or something if you'd want to do that.
Yeah, super interesting. We're gonna try to get as many different
Okay,
founders on here and
sure, yeah,
people
we
who
can do
are
that.
just they're young, they're starting their own thing, trying to make it work. And so hopefully we'll have like a pretty big network of founders and things like that. So
Nice, it's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
it'd be cool if I'm able to run into you
Cool,
in
that's
New
great.
York in December. I don't know. I'll maybe hit you up on LinkedIn or something when I'm out there.
Yeah,
yeah, we'll drop all your links on this video too.
okay,
We'll let you
yeah,
know
hit me
when
up, dude.
it's out, and then I'll send you a message so you can just send me over like your website, your socials,
All right,
anything that
sick.
you'd want on the video.
Cool.
All right, Sean.
Thank
This
you so
was
much.
Inside the Box,
Okay,
episode
sounds good.
13 with Shaan Arora. Thank you so much. And you have a good weekend, bro. We'll be in touch.
Sounds good. All right.
All right.
Later.